Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web at smartwatchticks.com. Today we are going to take a look at an Apple-style smartwatch. Got the button, got the knob, got the screen. The whole thing looks pretty much like a basic Apple Watch, but of course, it's not. It's something better, right? It's a FINOW GT2, as you saw in the box, a 2020 brand new smartwatch with ECG, PPG, SpO2, all the proper acronyms in just the right places. Blood oxygen, of course, 1.54-inch full touch screen smartwatch. Spec-wise, we're looking at this 1.54-inch, 240 by 240, waterproof and IP68. Definitely splash proof from that level. 2 to 3 hours of charging, little battery in it, magnetic attachment, basic information on its construction, and it uses the WoFit app. We're going to be monitoring ECG, heart rate, blood oxygen, blood pressure, and heart rate variability, it says. It's got scientific sleep, and it can monitor taking a nap. That's pretty cool. These are the different sports modes it supports. It's got your step count, distance traveled. You can mute and reject incoming calls. No noise wake up. I guess that means it'll vibrate on alarms. These are the languages limited, Chinese and English in the device itself, but the app, of course, supports several different languages when you transfer the data over. So if you can understand the icons and English or Chinese is not your primary language, you probably still can actually use the device and rely on your app after you tether it for the data itself. Well, looks like the box is designed to pick it up here. That's pretty cool. It's just floating in there. Yeah, wow. Wow. See that nice bump on here? I like that when I see that on a watch because it means when you have it on your arm, it's going to press down right into your skin. And at night, if you're sleeping with it and you roll over, you don't see the light flashing out too brightly. There's where the bands are going to attach. It's got a little cover on it. We can take that off. Manual. There's the bands, and they are obviously removable with the pins. So although it's an Apple Watch looking from the outside, it's not using the Apple style of slide-in bands. It's using the traditional type of replaceable bands. So if you want different bands, you could easily do that. You've got the connector for charging, which again is your basic 2-pin connector, magnetically coupled on the side like that. And really nice and strong, really strong. That's a very solid battery on that one. And then a Chinese-English manual, which jumps right in here with a quick guide in English. Start using, charging, shows you how to set it up. There's the QR code to download WoFit, or you can use the link we have in the show notes, of course, and download it directly from the Google Play Store. You'll need that tethering app in order to get this thing to, well, basically synchronize the data that it collects over there, and possibly even setting some of the parameters on the watch is often done through the app. So you definitely want to take the time to do that. Here's how you do the ECG measurement. Looks like you're going to touch the side of the watch, and then the plates on the bottom will make the other kind of a connection. We'll check all that out when we get to the app. Okay, information about putting it on. Pretty good details. A lot of manuals don't go into this level of understanding of how to properly wear a watch when you're doing measurements of body functions and things. You pretty much need to make sure you've got it in the right place. All righty, that's the manual. Box is pretty well built. It's a nice presentation box. So if you're thinking of a present, this one might be a good one. Yep, let's put it together, put the bands on, charge it up, and play with it. So if I were to tell you that this particular little watch looks more or less like an Apple Watch, is pretty much the same thing as the Spovan Blade or the V19, i7E, the ones that do all the fancy sleep apnea reporting, Lorenz Scatter Diagrams, all of that stuff, well, it is. It actually is. It's really exciting. This is a Very well designed, and it's in a watch format, but it can handle all of the things we've been talking about. You got your step count information on one of the panels. You come over and you've got last night's sleep time, and I've worn it for about 3-4 days now, collecting data you're going to get to see here shortly, and an easy way to get to a power off button. And then to your app drawer, which has all of the goodies, including a few different sports, outdoor runs and walks, indoor, some hiking, cycling. It's not tied to GPS. It's not really a fitness watch as much as it is a health watch, including things like ECG. And when you come in here, you have one plate on the back that's going to touch your arm, and you simply touch the button on the side, and that will complete the circuit to collect ECG heart rate and produce a real ECG chart in the app. You got your basic heart rate reading here, and it's going to be produced with green diodes. Same thing for blood pressure. It does that same basic computation as all of them do using the green diode technology. As we go further, we get to blood oxygen. So the things are in the middle here. In blood oxygen now, it's using red and infrared diodes to compute that, and it's because they're using this diode technology that it's able to do all the real fancy things that you're going to be seeing later. I can go back that way, same as going that way all the way around. This whole thing just loops. So we're back here. Stopwatch, basic, simple, but really large digits. Sadly, like all the other ones, you have to stay on the page in order for it to work. You can't leave it. As soon as you stop it, you reset it, then you can get out of it. So it doesn't run in the background. However, you do have countdown timer where you can set hours, minutes, and seconds and run a countdown timer live if you want to. Basic information pushed from your phone when you're tethered. These are your messages. Blood oxygen we showed you. You've got remote music player, find your phone when you're tethered, and an overall settings, which gives you a bunch of switches. Did I go into that right? Information. Okay, that's where the switches are. Sometimes it's just called switches. So you can get information pushed to the phone from phone calls, text messaging, and then these other services as well. Now, normally, and of course for this one as well, you can set those all up in the app. But the fact that you can turn on or off Snapchat, for example, right in the app is pretty cool. And for all of your other push notifications. Now remember, this isn't going to work right out of the box. You're going to have to set up the app to give permissions for your phone to push to the watch. Don't forget to do that and complain it doesn't work. It's part of the system security of Android. You've got an overall brightness, and you notice I'm down at the lowest level. Watch the color of that as I crank it up. It'll wash out on the camera and practically disappear. It's a super bright watch, going to be easy to see outdoors, which is great, even in moderate sunlight. Super bright sunlight, you might have to shield it a little bit. I'm running it on lowest level, and that's fine for me. You've got auto lock, which I don't fully understand. I guess that's for unlocking your phone. You can set that up. Here's switches. Okay, the other thing was about push notifications. These are switches you can turn on and off also in the app to have this thing work for sending alarms, sedentary reminders. Twist your wrist to see the time can be activated, deactivated here. So when you go to bed, you can turn this off and it won't light up throughout the night. And you do want to wear this one to bed, let me tell you. That's the best part of this one, is wearing it to bed. You got pulse rate monitoring, blood oxygen monitoring, the whole thing here, the alarm so that it'll wake you if you have sleep apnea. If your blood oxygen falls below a threshold, it'll monitor and let you know. Blood pressure monitoring, all these are selectable, and then it loops around again. All within the watch. Really nice. It's getting very sophisticated, and that's all of it for the settings. Okay, then we're back to the beginning, and we get back to the watch faces, of which we have a few. This one I like in particular. You notice my finger is over the heart rate diode, and it's bouncing around showing the heart rate live on this particular watch face, step count, and last night's sleep time. You have other really nice large watch faces that you can change on the fly just by swiping up and down. So it's got great potential to just be randomly changed watch face to fit your mood. I like it on this one. It's not an accurate heart rate because look, I'm not even covering the green diodes, so it's funky right there, but it's showing you that it is working and it's working live. This is not a button now, this is an electrode. This is a button that turns it on and off. Basically, it rotates, but it doesn't do anything in rotating. But the magic happens in the app. The WoFit app, it's in the Google Play Store. You can go there directly or use the link in the show notes to click on over. Either way you get there, you're going to download WoFit. Now, WoFit we've looked at before with the V19 in depth. So today I'm going to kind of jump around and show you some of the data from this new GT2 smartwatch that it's collected by the app and portrayed here. And if you want detail about it, by the way, you saw that flashing and then it went solid and now it's syncing. If you want detail about the app, go to the V19 and it'll walk you through every single thing. But for now, I just want to show you the data collection and how it really it's really pretty cool. We get a big total right here of steps for the day and hours slept last night. Then you got these different panels that you can go into separately, showing your step count and how much at what time of the day from midnight to midnight. Last night's sleep time, your heart rate and how it's moving over time, your systolic and diastolic blood pressure as measured actively. Of course, this all means that you have these different factors turned on in the watch to be testing this stuff regularly. Then you have this amazing heart rate variability area. We're going to come into that in detail. Your blood oxygen over the last night showing your highs and lows. This is where sleep apnea would appear. And an ECG area that if you've taken an ECG chart, the latest one will show a few little beats right here. And you got your weight too. You can put your weight in and change it over time as your weight actually changes. And I believe that data is actually used partially in helping you compute the number of calories you need to burn each day. So let's jump in. We look at steps, and just to show you, you get kind of a summary. You can show all of your data and more statistical data, which shows you a continuing chart over the week about your step count, daily averages this month. So I've done a few days, so I'm actually getting some data so you can see what the charts look like, which is pretty nice. You got also sleep time, and these sleep charts are showing you a lot of detail. Your awake time, your light, your deep, and your REM time. When you fell asleep and woke up, if you stayed up late, how long, your deep, light, and REM quality. And then it breaks it down into percentages, which is really nice. So there's a lot of ways you can look at your sleep data and work toward improvement. Let me dim that down a little bit so the numbers are not washed out. There we go. I woke up 2 times, fell asleep in 4 minutes, and my overall sleep efficiency is 4 minutes. And then more statistical data. Again, you get each of your daily synopsis in color on here, along with summaries. So very impressed with the depth of detail that this app allows you to get. You got heart rate. And by the way, on any of these, I can go back, over the daily charts here. When I've had it off, it doesn't record. When I put it on, it does. You've got your high, low, average, see all of the data. Heart rate scope is where you can set it to give you a reminder at a certain upper limit, and it'll vibrate if you exceed that threshold. And of course, it'll tell you what your maximum should be and your range based on your age and your gender and your height and your weight and all those other factors, whatever they are that goes into computing all that. It computes it for you automatically. Beyond heart rate, blood pressure, highs and lows, averages, and again, this app lets you put in your personal number. So I put in 185 over 85, I think, or something like that, as a test, as opposed to 180 over 60, 70. I'm forgetting right now, sorry. Anyway, there's a standard default that's used, and if you tend to be hyper or under, you can either put in your own numbers, or you can choose a category that's slightly higher, much higher, and those kinds of things, and it'll help compute that average for you, so that when you take the blood pressure readings. They will be more correlated with where you are in your actual over or under normal for blood pressure. All in all, it's supposed to help you get better accuracy in your readings. But it does show a range of values that are happening in here, and you can actually see the differences in the charts themselves. And of course, throughout each of the days, you can go back and look at them. Now, the fun stuff starts here. Here's your heart health index, and that changes daily. I have no idea how it's computed overall, but I'm normal. That's happy. 77 for that one. Here's yesterday's 72. By the way, I had a flu shot this day, and all of my stuff went like kitty wampus for 24 hours. My nighttime temperature raised 3.6 degrees, all of this stuff while my body was processing the flu shot. Here's the day before, and so forth. So you can show all the data incrementally throughout the time that it was taken, or you've got the fancy chart that's showing you here what the results look like. And then you got that exotic Lorenz scatter plot or scatter diagram and some of the characteristics that they can look like. And if you tap on any one of these, it'll give you a description of what that chart or that plot might indicate in terms of your heart health, which is information you can share with your doctor or health provider as you accumulate these day after day. Oh, this one here. Yeah, slender ones and rockets and comets. Comet seems to be the common one, and I've got one there that doesn't look like any of these. It's like a comet on both ends, a little bit broad on the top, but yeah, I don't know. I can check previous days simply by going back that day and then picking that diagram. You see it's different. And here's another one, slightly different. That's more or less like the comet. But it's also giving you this data here. And each of these are up to 5 stars, 5 being the best in these different categories. And again, you can track all of those day by day just to see how they are coming out, and they're slightly changing. Usually 3 to 5 is if you're in good health, I guess, is what you'll see. And more statistical data. There's your plots over time for this week, this month, and so forth. Okay, that's heart rate variability, and we got that from this chart, and then your blood oxygen. This is the one where it'll tell you if you have any apnea events, they'll show up here. And of course, you can activate the alarm that will vibrate the watch if you do have an event. There's your average blood oxygen. And look at all the things it can collect. Respiratory rate, hypoxia time, cardiac load, sleep, activity, amplitude. Here's where you can turn on that alarm or not if you don't want to be woken up. And it'll give you this particular analytic read as well. Stuff you'd got to study up on. Don't want to get into a lot of detail with it here, but it's available for you there. And then ECG, I can go back to previous days. Here's one, there's a chart. I can play it, I can expand it, I can show it to you this way. We can go through the chart any which way you want to. I've confirmed it's a valid chart by wiggling the connector when I'm taking it, and you'll see the thing vibrate. Accuracy is that's totally up to a medical doctor to interpret. I am not obviously trained at all to understand the details of this chart, but I can definitely create one wearing the watch. I do get an average heart rate, a QT interval, and heart rate variability. Tells you the start time, and you can put in your own information in here. Like I did this one in the evening and I was relaxed, and I'm getting a really nice reading. Now the amplitude looks a little small. It's because my skin was dry. If I wet my skin underneath and my fingers when I touch the button, I get some good sized peaks. So it's always good to have your skin wet a little bit. And that's the ECG. I can show all the data of all of my charts. Yeah, there you see a few of them. See how big these things can be? compared to the smaller ones. And some of them are just chaotic because I hadn't settled down and touched it right and gotten really still. But after a while, it'll level out. But this is the first few seconds of each of the charts of all of the data. And that, of course, can be exported and shared and tells you basically how to do the detection. Now, it's showing touching the side, and I found in actually doing that, let me show you. When I put it on, and notice that the plate is right here on the bottom, okay, on that extended section. And I found a better way, for me anyway, to do this and not get as much noise in it. And that is to hold the other side as well. Now, I've got it on pretty tight right now, but that's okay. So it's saying that taking the ECG, you press it like that, but notice it makes the watch bow up a little bit. So I've grabbed this side first, and then I touch there, and I just kind of pinch the watch, and that holds this level, and I can kind of hold it still too. So if I do the test like this, I'm getting much smoother, regular results than if I do it like this. I don't think it's high enough to take the plate off of my hand, but it definitely is a better connection if I do it like that. Okay, other than that, what I want to show you on here, oh, by the way, when you're in one of these, any of these, you see up here at the top, I can just, in the middle, I can scroll between each of them directly like this. There's not one, oh, there is one. I was going to say there's not one for weight, but there is actually, and it can show you your target rate, your normal rate, your statistics of how your weight has changed. But of course, you have to record your weight manually. It doesn't have any way of doing that. So I just put in some variety in here just to see how it was working. And again, back to here, to the main page, you can come into settings, you can set up your stuff, you can take individual readings on this pane, including using it for selfie photography, reminders, alarms, all that stuff's available. You go into the device, you have all of the settings capable for you here, the switches that you can activate to do all of these things automatically or not. And the scientific sleep is where you get all the statistics and information as well as your REM sleep, but it does use more power because it's relying on taking readings all through the night, okay? And that, again, is the WoFit app, which is very similar to the H-band app and the Zeroner app, which work with some of the other bands that we've played with, like the Spovan Blade, the V19, the i7E. They're all really good app, and we finally have that capabilities we've been looking for in an actual watch. Up until now, it's all been bands. There is one other watch called W3 that's a round one, and now we've got this Apple size and shape, finally, the GT2, that can do all of the health stuff we've been looking for in a really nice watch format. And you can get it directly from FINOW. FINOW's brought this to us. They have a AliExpress company store, and it's available right now. So head on over, use the link we have in the show notes. If there's any kind of a discount coupon, we'll have that posted with the link, and you could apply it at checkout. Otherwise, it's still at a very good price, around 45 bucks. And it does a lot. It really does a lot. Alrighty. Thanks for watching, gang. We'll see you again soon.